Sam Darnold didn't choose the Denver Broncos, so who's left to be their bridge or starting QB next season? Welcome into your Denver Sports Daily for March 12th. Let's go.
Taking you through your morning headlines, it's Denver Sports Daily with Rachel V. Hill.
Darnold picked the Vikings over the Broncos, which makes sense when you look at the lineup they have compared to what Denver has to offer. But another quarterback that's thrown into the mix is Jameis Winston. He is going to the Browns. Many people had connected him back to the Broncos because of Sean Payton, obviously. So who's still available to be a starting QB for the Broncos this fall? You've got Tannehill. You've got Rudolph. You've got Locke. Drew Lock in the mix, anybody? Flacco, Mariota. Those are a few names, but what once was a really gold star standard is no longer the place that a lot of players are picking. We're going to be talking about that on Coffee Break, 12 p.m. Come hang out with Will Peterson and I. Because, yeah, things have definitely changed here in Broncos country over the past few years. And is this rock bottom right now? Now, another update just coming out minutes before we got started with the show is Jason McCourty tweeting out, Michael Burton, in case you're unfamiliar with Mike Burton, agreed to terms to go back to the Broncos on a one-year deal. Burton offers plenty of versatility as a fullback and key contributor on special teams. We looked up, he had 9 yards on the season, no touchdowns, and his long was indeed 4 yards. But let's be honest, he was a blocker. That's what he did. He played a lot of defense. He was trying to protect the quarterback. That's what he was used for. So they are bringing him back on another year deal. Broncos are also signing a safety to replace Justin Simmons. Brandon Jones is a 3-year contract who is planned again to be Justin Simmons' replacement. Pro Football Focus said Jones from week 12 onward gave up 0 touchdowns in 2-3-4 coverage and limited opposing offenses to a 39.8 passer rating when targeted. You can see a lot of his stats right here on the screen. 238 tackles, 14 quarterback hits, 9 pass breakups, 8 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, and 3 interceptions. I think this will be a very interesting ad. He did have a torn ACL in week 7 of the 2022 season, but it's a 3-year, $20 million deal with the Broncos, an upside of $22.5 million, and then $12.5 million of that is guaranteed. He did tweet out about joining the Broncos, going on to say, truly wouldn't have traded these last 4 years for anything. Forever grateful for the Dolphins organization for taking a chance on a kid from Nacogdoches, Texas that wanted nothing more than to live out his childhood dreams of playing in the NFL. Denver, LFG with the cowboy hats. I won't say that one word for word, but ultimately you should be excited. Now, let's get into some of the drama that happened yesterday and was probably like the biggest thing for Broncos country. Their kicker, Will Lutz, reportedly was headed to Jacksonville to replace Brandon McManus earlier in the day. And then all of a sudden in the afternoon, Mike Klis tweets out that instead he will remain with the Broncos on a 2-year deal. He had reported on the change of heart that he had. And I'm like, okay, so clearly Sean Payton went to talk to Will Lutz and be like, yo, we need you back out here. But his agent said Will had a tremendous sense of loyalty to Sean Payton, who had really helped him in his career. The Broncos were able to make that work so that Will had a change in direction. Now he can continue what he's done with the team there. It was quite a day. It was quite a day indeed. This was just so surprising to me. I was sitting down with James Marilat on Coffee Break when we were originally talking about this, and I was like, things must be really, really bad behind the scenes because Will Lutz was Sean Payton's guy. And so I originally was like, things must not be good back there in the locker room when I saw that he was going to go down to Jacksonville. Now, obviously, with the change, like what was said to Will Lutz to make him want to stay, or was it truthfully just all about money? I'm not entirely sure, but it's definitely interesting. And in case you were wondering about Brandon McManus, obviously, who Will Lutz was going to take over for, he is now headed to DC with the Commanders. Definitely interesting right there. Now, Titans, they're signing Lloyd Cushenberry. It's a $50 million over 4 years, $26 million fully guaranteed at signing with a $30 million total. Also, that cash flow comes in over 2 years. It's the most ever by a center, very well deserved in my personal opinion. And it's a deal that makes him the 3rd highest paid center in the NFL. But now Sean Payton and George Paton will have to look to replace Cushenberry internally, whether that is Luke Wattenberg or a 2022 5th-round pick, or Alex Forsmith, a 2023 7th-round pick out of Oregon. They definitely have to make some moves if they're not going to be doing anything with those two guys. But ultimately, I assume Wattenberg will be the starter for the Denver Broncos come week 1. Of course, you never know what can happen in training camp, but that's my early or too early prediction right there. There were tons of names that got moved around over the past couple of days. But yesterday we were seeing big names, household names that a lot of people know all over the place. It was like boom, news drop, boom, news drop, boom, 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 everywhere. Kirk Cousins headed to the Falcons. He's got a massive deal, I'm not going to lie. But I think what was most surprising is the $50 million signing bonus. Saquon Barkley is headed to the Eagles. Austin Eckler, no longer with the Chargers. He's headed to the Commanders. That's a 2-year deal worth up to $11.43 million. He is the 4th external free agent to sign with Washington on the opening day of the league's tampering period. People are really starting to believe in Dan Quinn. I think it's going to be interesting. You've got Josh Jacobs headed to the Packers. Tony Pollard headed to the Titans on a 3-year deal, $24 million guaranteed. This does signal that Henry's run in Tennessee is over. Christian Wilkins, we talked about this. He's headed to the Raiders. This is bad news for the Broncos. A 4-year deal. Max Crosby and Wilkins is going to be dangerous. DeAndre Swift is a 3-year deal to the Bears. He's coming off of a Pro Bowl season, so I think that this is really going to help the Bears essentially. Brian Bird's going to the Giants. Jacoby Brissett, going to the Patriots. Gardner Minshew to the Raiders. He'll compete with Aiden O'Connell, the Raiders QB out there. And then Tyrod Taylor going to the Jets. So plenty of big names right there for you all to see, and they just keep going. I know that there's going to be a lot of moves that continue to happen, even some happening this morning. So definitely pay attention over there. But the Broncos, they're not really totally involved in a lot of these things. This is also a little bit of a salt on the wound, but Noah Fant, he's a free agent, but he is signing with the Seahawks for $20 million over 2 years. That was announced by Bleacher Report. The former first-round pick had 2,800 receiving yards and 14 touchdowns in 5 NFL seasons. He was a part of the Russell Wilson trade. Essentially, when Wilson was coming to Denver, they sent him, Shelby Harris, and a few picks, obviously, over to the Seahawks, and they liked him enough for what he was doing. So that's a little bit of a salt on the wound for me personally. Now, Nathan McKinnon, he earned the first star of the week for the NHL, and it is very well deserved. He led the Avs to 3 wins while scoring 3 goals and tallying 7 assists. He had 2 4-point games this past week, one against Chicago and another one against Detroit. He has finished twice as the runner-up for the Hart Memorial Trophy, which is the NHL's MVP, and oddmakers are favoriting him for the trophy this year. But the Hart isn't the only trophy that McKinnon could capture. The Art Ross Trophy, as well as he is moved into the lead for the honor, which is given to the league's top scorer. It would be so well deserved. Nathan McKinnon has took the chip on his shoulder and said, we have to go out there and be able to produce. I would love to see him be able to bring home all of these things. And of course, you got the home point streak that everybody is paying attention to. Now, you have a 4-game road stretch, so you don't have to worry about that home point streak for a minute. But the Avs do go on the road as they will be taking on the Calgary Flames tonight. It should be a good game. 7 p.m. puck drop. The Avs obviously are 40-20-5. The Flames coming in at 31-28-5. Again, should just be like overall a good game. They had a 3-game homestand, which they outscored the opposition 14-3 when they were at home, which is already tied for 5th most wins in the single season in franchise history. So plenty of good stuff coming out from the Colorado Avalanche. And this next Mile High Minute is brought to you by Smashburger. The Nuggets dominated. The Nuggets were dominated. Let me rephrase that. Absolutely dominated in the first half versus Toronto last night, but somehow they fought back to win. And maybe we shouldn't be like, all right, they're down, this one's over. You can never count out Nikola Jokic. Down by 22 in the second quarter. They just did not show up. They had no effort on either side of the floor. Honestly, it just feels like they weren't even awake for that, but somehow they turned it on. The Joker went in there. He got his 126th triple-double of his career in the 22nd of the year, 35, 17, 12, and 6 steals and 2 blocks. And then Jamal also got it going in the 4th. He finished with a double-double. The Nuggets are 9-1 after the All-Star break. Plenty of good stuff from the Denver Nuggets right there. I truthfully do not believe that there is a team in the NBA that can beat the Denver Nuggets. And I'm going to knock on all of the wood around me because I hope that can be the case and they can bring home another championship. Deion Sanders. Oh man, Deion Sanders. Do we remember all when we were like, how the heck is CU going to be able to afford Deion Sanders and pay him when they don't even have the money? Well, let me tell you this, because his contract is 100% paying off for CU Boulder. In his first season at Colorado, he led to a record of 68,000 applicants for the fall of 2024. That's a 20% increase from 2023. And the school also saw a 50% jump in applications for Black students. His $30 million contract is continuing to pay for itself. If you are wanting to go to Boulder, man, things just got a little bit harder, but this is great news for Colorado, obviously for Boulder up there. And it's just really great news for, if you're a football fan. Think about the intensity that all of these fans, if they are coming for Deion Sanders or a little bit of that, they're going to go to the football games. The environment is going to be absolutely insane up there in Boulder. If College Game Day comes back out there, think of all the students that are going to go out on the fields out there and just to celebrate this team. This is huge news for Boulder. And honestly, I absolutely love it for them. Even as a Ram, I'm saying that. So please know this still excites me a ton. And I'm hoping for success for the Buffs and the Rams. So don't get me wrong. I hope the Rocky Mountain Showdown, when it's up in Fort Collins this year, the Rams are able to get a win. But I just love that this is happening for Colorado sports in general. Now, unfortunately for the Colorado Rockies, things aren't always good. So no players cracked ESPN's list of the top 100 players in Major League Baseball. It is the second straight year that no Rockies have been represented on the list. Last year, it was the A's, Nationals, Cincinnati Reds, Detroit Tigers. They all joined the Rockies in lacking representations, but here we are again with the Rockies. And is anybody really surprised? Because I think this is just kind of par for the course at this point. Maybe we thought when Chris Bryant had signed that he would be on that list somehow. No, not looking good. Obviously, he's been injured. And then March Madness, you guys, is so dang close. But first, we got to get through all of the conference tournaments. So CU is a number 3 seed and has its first round bye in the Pac-12 tournament. They finished the regular season on a 6-game win streak and will be the 3 seed with the first round bye in the Pac-12. They'll face the winner of Utah versus ASU. And then CSU is a number 7 seed in the Mountain West tournament, and they will play San Jose State. Both start on Wednesday and will crown their champion on March 16th, the day before Selection Sunday. I am so freaking ready for March Madness. I'm like, let's go. Let's bring it on. It's my favorite time of the year, to be completely honest with you. As always, I love checking out all of your guys' comments, so I always appreciate it. Let's see. Want to check out some of them? Ooh. Stop stalling. Let's get Daniel Jones. I don't know about Daniel Jones. I just don't know about that. I don't think that he is the answer. And again, they're just looking for a bridge quarterback. My gut is telling me that they are going to go for JJ McCarthy. If they can, they might have to move up to get him because after the combine, his stock raised so much. I don't think Daniel Jones is going to be that guy. I'm not sold in on Daniel Jones. So I guess, Lawrence, tell me in the comments why you are 100% in on Daniel Jones. Let's see. Justin Fields ? It has been interesting that we have not heard anything about Justin Fields today. It's 10:13 a.m. Mountain Time. We have not heard anything. I'm going to be very curious to what ends up happening with him. Are the Bears somehow going to keep them? Are they going to trade away the first pick? I'm not entirely sure, but it is definitely a name that everybody is kind of on watch for. Like, hey, where's Justin Fields going to end up going? Let's see. At least we have Jarrett Stidham. Everybody. Drew Lock time. Honestly, of all the QBs that are still left, I'm kind of in on Drew Lock. I think I'm probably like one on an island, but I am in on Drew Lock. Rachel, it'll be interesting to see if some chemistry can start to develop tonight with Middlestat and his line mates. 100%. I think tonight's game is going to be very important, but at the exact same time, chemistry takes a little bit of time. Middlestat has talked about how fast the Avs tend to go, and they have to be able to move. And so I think it's going to take him a minute to kind of almost level up his play and be able to move with the fast-paced Avalanche. So it should be a good game tonight. Of course, I always love seeing what the Avs are going to do on the road because they've struggled. So I'm hoping that all the new additions they've had will help them be able to get a W out there. Good morning, Rachel. Good morning to all of you. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me every single morning. I'm so glad you guys are loving this show. And then we'll be back 12 p.m. Me, Will Peterson. We're going to be talking about, is this rock bottom for the Denver Broncos? So make sure you come hang out with us, and we will see you guys all tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. If we don't see you at noon. Get back to work, everybody. Bye.